Hey, what's up, y'all? This is Elo from Fan Pros. Just a quick video. I'm gonna probably do something maybe on Sunday to just kind of wrap up what I've seen so far from the season. Which has looked pretty good. It's been up and down, but Knick fans, don't jump out the window, don't trip, don't go crazy. I think Coach Brown has been pretty good. He's had a good handle on the team. I think the last loss they had against the Bucks, his press conference was spot on. They need to learn to be consistent and play the way they're supposed to play. That's ball movement, spraying the ball, not standing around, and one person dominating the ball, pounding the dribble. That's going back to the former coach, Coach Thibodeau's style of play, and we're done with that. We want ball movement on offense. We have enough weapons that can score. And I'll just touch on it quick. The only thing just from watching the games, they shoot a lot of threes, a lot more threes for my liking. I want Cat to get the ball in the post, use his skills in the post. You heard Jason talk about this, Jay Thorough, on the last podcast we did, the preview for the season. You've heard Ed talk about it. You've heard everybody that's been on this podcast speak about this. So we're kind of in unison with this. Cat has to use the low post more. I mean, basketball players are creatures of habit. So, he can do it. He hasn't done it a lot. And unfortunately, I don't know. That's the one thing I'm keeping my eye on. I'm hoping that can become sprinkled in a little bit more in the offense. But I'm not sure at this point if it's going to be. But I want it to. They need for it to. In and out, spray the ball. Pick and roll, pick and pop will keep the defense on its heels for the season. And they have the weapons to do it. Let's just hope Mike Brown can get some more, air out some of the wrinkles and start to get these type of plays consistently incorporated in the offense each game. If we can do that, I think the collapse like you saw against Milwaukee, you're not going to see any of that. I think the Knicks later on in the year, the same game, the Knicks will crush Milwaukee. They're just trying to figure it out right now, and they're reverting back to bad habits, which is human nature at times. It takes a while to build new habits, man. And it takes discipline. It takes, when things go wrong, you're not panicking and going back to what you know. So that's just human nature. So, I'll give them time. I'm very patient with this team this year. It's new coach, new philosophies. Everybody's getting used to what their roles will be. And it's only 4 games, man. So they'll be fine. Don't even trip, guys. Don't worry. All these other posts I'm seeing or videos of the Knicks, the sky is falling, it's dangerous, should we worry now? Let's just stop. Mitch isn't even in the lineup. Mitch is healthy. From what I heard, he may play tonight or, upcoming games. So whenever Mitch comes back, I'm going to be patient with him. Give him a chance to get his legs back. And then once everybody's healthy and we have the actual team like how it'll be, let's go from there. Remember, Mitch came back late in the year last year. Took him a couple more games than it should have because of Tibbs' hard-headedness. But now he has a coach that wants to start him, hopefully, and has enough, and is going to play the bench so that even though he starts, he'll get a good complement of rest. So I think we'll be fine with that too. So Knicks fans, don't trip. We'll get into it with a podcast, hopefully Sunday, so we can kind of wrap everything up from this early basketball season. Also, just one surprise, shocker for me, but also shows you the value of drafting and of hitting on that draft. That's how you build championships. VJ Escombe, man. The Philadelphia 76ers have looked phenomenal coming out the gate, man. And that young man, listen, I know everybody loves Cooper Kupp. The league was building everything around Cooper. I mean, not Cooper Kupp. Cooper Flag, my bad. And I think he's talented. He's going to be good. This guy, VJ Edgecombe, is ready. This young man is ready. I think it's his rookie of the year to lose, man, period. So, I mean, and the eyes don't lie, Chico. Great Razor Ramon used to say, the eyes don't lie, Chico. He is phenomenal. Great defense, can steal the ball. Great one-on-one defender. Very good one-on-one defender. can pass the ball, gets a good amount of assists, so he's unselfish, can score. I mean, hit the three. He had great post moves, good spin moves in the post. He's doing stuff I want Cat to do. So 76ers right now, and that's why you go into the year confident, but you also never know, man. Basketball's weird like that. There's always a team that comes out of nowhere and just kind of takes the league by storm. I don't think anybody picked OKC to win it all, this last year that just passed, but they did. So for the Knicks, it's not a given that we're going to go to the NBA Finals. We got to work hard, gel, and be disciplined, know our roles, and stick to our game plan. Don't venture off into the game plan of the past that got us only but so far. And be on the lookout. Sheesh, man. The 76ers are coming, bro. Coming. And PG, when he comes back, I don't know if... Are they going to start PG? That's a good question, man. I don't think Edgecombe ever leaves that starting lineup again. And then their other young rookie that was hurt, if he comes back, it's going to be crowded. They may bring Grimes off the bench, but I mean, PG has a lot to prove, bro. He has a lot to prove. I was looking at an interview with Edgecombe and him, and I see, PG's interviewing him is all love. But in the back of his mind, PG now got to be like, damn, this youngster's coming for my job. He already got the shooting guard position, so small forward, maybe. And then you got the other youngster coming back. So they're going to be a really good team to watch. But, I want to just tap in real quick with this. Up on my algorithm came a video I watched from Knick Fans TV with CP. Shout out to CP, Knick Fans TV. Excellent podcast on the Knicks, have been for years. And I watched them when they started way back, when it was CP and it was my other guy who does the Nick of Time show. But the video was basically Amare saying that Carmelo Anthony didn't pass the ball and the offense got stagnant, and that's when they started to kind of go downhill as a group. This was after the big Melo trade from Denver. In that trade, you got to remember, we also got Chauncey Billups. So I'm just going to be real quick with this. Number one, the Knicks didn't lose because of Carmelo not passing the ball. Carmelo is not there to pass the ball. Carmelo is there to score. He's one of the great offensive weapons in the history of the game. He is. I mean, you look at his numbers, Carmelo of his generation for sure, and you can argue that as a scorer, man. Carmelo Anthony, I mean, come on, he's not there to pass the ball. The Knicks, I heard CP say a line that was funny. He was like, yo, if I'm Carmelo, I'm not passing to Billy Walker. I'm not passing to Jared Jeffries. Absolutely right, man. That Knicks team, memory serves me correctly, the only 3 really consistent offensive weapons you had was Amare when he was there, was Carmelo, and then was Chauncey. If you remember that Boston series when all 3 played, and this is where Stat has selective memory. They faced the Celtics in the first round. Amare versus Kevin Garnett, he was eating Kevin Garnett's food. And Amare Stoudemire traditionally against Kevin Garnett would dominate him. So the Knicks actually had a very good chance to win that series. Problem is, Amare Stoudemire would do brain fart things in a game at times, in a playoff series, in a pressurized series, man. This is why we didn't win. That's one of the big reasons we didn't win. I'll just talk about, I can go back to a series a couple of years later. I think maybe the following year when we played the Heat and we had Jeremy Lin and we lost the first game. And Amare Stoudemire was so mad he punched the fire extinguisher glass in a locker room, and shattered it, cut his knuckles up, and I think he had to get surgery or something. He had to get stitches on his knuckle, on his hand, had to have it in a wrap, and we lost because of that. Amare was playing well before that, but after that, it was over. It was just Melo, and it was Jeremy. And Jeremy Lin didn't even show up. Jeremy Lin didn't even play with an injury, man. So He ended up not playing. He ended up not being a factor in that series. It was just Melo again. So this is what I'm getting to. Amare Stoudemire made bonehead plays, made bonehead decisions throughout his run with us at different times. Now rewind back to the series that I'm talking about, that Boston series where they played Boston in the first round. The Knicks were underdog, but were a live underdog. For game one, he dominates, absolutely dominates Kevin Garnett. You know, I think, and in that game, they lost because of a Jared Jeffries pass. That was bad. The Knicks, they played it down to the wire. So it was just a Jared Jeffries mistake on the road, which happens, which is why they lost the game. I think Chauncey played well in that game, and so did Melo. Game two, this guy, Amare Stoudemire, is in the layup line trying to do practice dunks. We don't need you to do that. We need you just to warm up and be ready to go. We don't need you doing any extracurricular stuff. Tries to do a trick dunk, strains his back, out for the series. We're toast. And that was the series. That was it. All competitive, live dog status, all that was over with. Now Carmelo was on his own again. Like, he was on his own. Again, just like he was fast forward in that Miami series. Again. So Stat has selective memory. And I think as a man, number one thing you can do as a man is be accountable for your actions. And it's hard for a lot of brothers. It's hard for human beings in general, but for men, you know, we're called to the forefront to be leaders, man. And that's one of the things that we got to do. We got to be accountable. When you make a mistake, it's okay to say, you know what? Nah, that's on me because I wasn't around. I wasn't healthy. I made stupid decisions that cost my team big time in the playoffs. That cost playoff series for my team. Because make no mistake about it, if Amare was there for that Celtics series, we could have beat the Celtics. We could have beaten the Celtics. Not easy, but we could have beat them, man. It would have been very difficult, and the odds would have been against us. But I'm telling you, Kevin Garnett could not slow down or handle Amare Stoudemire. He was eating him alive, man, alive. So, you know, I mean, that's neither here nor there. But yeah, for Stat to say that Carmelo didn't pass the ball, Carmelo, other than Chauncey Billups in that first year, that trade, and Billups didn't even stay long, man, and he was on his way out. He was on his way down. Carmelo Anthony just like any big-time scorer, needs a point guard to get him the ball in the right spots, especially when you're a small forward, big small forward like Carmelo Anthony. He's not handling the basketball like that. He's not Grant Hill, who is a point forward, or Scottie Pippen, who's a point forward. All right? Neither was Amare. Omare's not there to pass the ball. You can pass out the double team, yeah, but you're not there to initiate any kind of play calling, play sets. You're not there to be a point guard to set people up. No, you're there to just pass when you're doubled or tripled. That's it. That's it, man. But Amare wasn't there to pass the ball, man. You two were the only real options. And third was maybe Chauncey when he was there. And if you look back at the point guards that Melo had through his whole time with us, he never really had any point guard options. The best that he had was Jason Kidd. And Jason Kidd was on his way out. That was basically his last year in the NBA, man. But he was still, he's top 5 all time. So even this percentage of a Jason Kidd is better than most point guards in the league. So he was able to bring the best out of Melo and be a master point guard, which is what he is. All-time great point guard. That guy will get you the ball in spots, make your life easier, and then make it easy, create easier shots, and then make it easier for you to get the ball out of a double team, get it back to him, because he'll working around and get it back to you. So Melo didn't have that. That Amare Stoudemire had that. Didn't really have a master point guard like that, man. You know what I'm saying? That's the crux of it, man. That Knicks team needed dominant point guards. They always had okay point guards, solid. You need a good point guard to get the respect of a superstar like both of them. Amare came from Steve Nash, so You had to respect Nash. Other than, outside of that, it was a lot of, you didn't have guys that were like, right. You have Raymond Felton, who was very good, very solid point guard. He wasn't a great point guard, man. It wasn't a great point guard. So, to kind of put all this stuff to bed and just kind of, because I heard the argument, it kind of it piqued my interest, got me a little bit like, oh, come on, Amare, here we go again. You just was on Melo's show, and now Amare Stoudemire has always struck me as a person that's just been very snaky at times. Just with his teammates, I don't necessarily like that. It's like, bro, be 100, bro. Be a stand-up dude. Take responsibility for your actions and stop throwing teammates under the bus. I don't like people in general that do that. Smile in your face and then the knife's coming out. You gotta, just as a rule of thumb, stay away from people like that, man. Don't have anything to do with them. If you want to pray for them, do it, but do it from afar. Don't have them up around you, man. Amare Stoudemire strikes me as a person like that. This is the umpteenth time he's done something like that with Melo, and I don't like that. Right? And honestly, Melo don't deserve that. I think Melo's was flawed, but almost every NBA player is flawed. You can point at a flaw from every NBA player. Wilt Chamberlain was the most dominant player in NBA history with the biggest scoring games in the history of the sport. Couldn't shoot free throws. Everybody has a Michael Jordan, one of the greatest players I've ever seen in my life. Wasn't a great three-point shooter. So everybody has an Achilles, but to say that's the reason you didn't win, no, you did not have a solid star quality point guard. The Knicks have always lacked point guard. That's why now we're rejoicing with Jalen. We didn't have that type of a point guard for decades, for a long time. Trust me, y'all. I've been following this team for a long time. The point guard they had coming out of Walt Clyde Frazier, which was the master point, the greatest one they've ever had. And then, Pearl was really Monroe was really the shooting guard. Was Michael Ray Richardson. I tell y'all on this channel, that is the person that made me a Knicks fan when I was a youngster, man. Master point guard, great point guard, man. It's just that drugs got in the way of him being, arguably, he still is to me one of the great Knicks point guards of all time. But he could have been an easy Hall of Famer, easy, all of that, man. But like I'm saying, the Knicks have always dealt with that star point guard. That's been the great well that we've always been on the hunt for over the years. We have it now. Carmelo didn't have it then. Stat didn't have it then. We had solid point guards, but not great. All right, so that these players could respect and that was cerebral enough to get them all in the right spots they needed to be. All right, so it's not about Stat. It's not about him not passing. And Stat was mad because his shots went down. Before Melo got here, Amare Stoudemire was killing. Amare Stoudemire, I went to a game, I'm just going to end it here. I went to a game where he played the Toronto Raptors with Antonio Bargnani. And I took all my boys. We went there and watched the game. And I never forget, man, it was a great game. This was when Bargnani was balling, and it was basically just Bargnani versus Stoudemire. They just kept going back and forth, back and forth. Felton was playing great at that time, above his caliber. He was playing great. But Amare Stoudemire was a phenomenal, he was a beast. He actually was in the top three for the MVP that season until the trade was made and then Carmelo came in, man. And then it was, and that happened because they were struggling for a while, man. But Amare Stoudemire, very great player. To me, Hall of Famer. But just like Carmelo, Hall of Famer. Better player than Melo? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. So the shots should have gone to Carmelo. You should have split it up, but let Carmelo be the 1 and then Amare be the 1A. So I don't have an issue with that. They didn't win because of the point guard. They needed a master point guard to get the respect of Carmelo and of Stat. So that the ball, and that could have set them up in the places, in the areas they needed to go. We had an aging Chauncey Billups. We then got later an aging Baron Davis. You know, we had Raymond Felton. We ended up losing him in the trade, the Denver trade, and then got him back for that Knicks tape team when they finally started to do well. But Amare Stoudemire, I want to stop seeing him do these interviews where he's throwing Melo under the bus. I don't like it. I don't like it, and I don't care for it. A character like that in anybody, especially a man, I do not like it, man. It's a dangerous quality to have, and you gotta people like that, man. You gotta keep them from around you, bro. You gotta have a force field around you. Don't let they can't come near you. Let your angels be around you, bro. To go to war against, you repel any person like that, man. That's just my opinion, man. So no, I don't believe what he's saying to me is ridiculous. Carmelo should not have passed the ball. What Carmelo should have done was had a championship caliber point guard that could have ran the offense and created that he could have respected to pass the ball back. He did not have options other than him and Stat. And Stat wasn't there most of the time because of his knees. So it was just Carmelo. All right, that's pretty much it. And this side note, I'll do two side notes. One, just to end it. One, that same Toronto game where Bargnani balled out for the Toronto Raptors versus Amare Stoudemire. The Knicks saw that, and years later ended up getting him. It was the worst mistake we ever made. He was just, ugh. So that game was kind of a microcosm of what was to come. Unfortunately, it hurt us big time, man. You know, we got Bargnani. That was one of the worst Knick trades ever, getting that guy. We thought we were getting a guy that was going head-to-head with Stoudemire. But if you guys get a chance, look that game up. I think it's Antonio, it's Andreas Bargnani. I know I'm messing the first name up, but Bargnani versus Amare Stoudemire, New York Knicks versus the Toronto Raptors. This was in the 2000s, I think the early 2010 or something like that. But if you get a chance, it was Amare's first year here with the Knicks. A great game to watch, man. Great game to watch. Was there at that. I was at the Garden for that game. Great game to watch. But that's the side note. And the last one, the point guard we should have had that would have changed everything and probably would have had the Knicks in the finals. But the Knicks opened their big mouth and couldn't keep it secret that they wanted to draft this young man. And this young man wanted to come here along with his father, who was pushing big time for him to come here, was the great Steph Curry. One of the worst Knick drafts in recent memory was that draft, the Steph Curry draft. That set the organization back many years. We were able to get through with that Knicks tape team, but we missed out on a huge opportunity. Moral of the story for the Knicks then, keep your big mouth shut when you got a pride. And that's what you get now with Leon. So you guys could be happy for that part of it. You have a management now that mum's the word on a player they like. They keep it close to the vest. And I like that. No matter how much media cries and, oh, Stephen A. Smiths and all these guys, oh, they need to talk to us. No, they don't. No, they don't. When the Knicks did that in the past, blew up in their face. Steph Curry, I'll tell y'all a million times, man. Steph Curry was brought in, killed the workout. Him and his dad wanted him here. He wanted to be a Knick. He did not want these other teams. Unfortunately, and Sacramento brought him back. When Sacramento heard the sound bites and read the press clippings of what the Knicks said and what Knicks management went on record saying, they brought him back in for a second look, and then Golden State brought him back in for a second look. And Steph Curry's not going to go half behind on no workout. So, of course, he killed those, and the rest is history, man. The Kings were ahead. Kings should have got him, didn't. The Golden State Warriors was ahead of us, picked them, and then we picked Jordan Hill, even though we were stacked at power forward. Jordan Hill, power forward, who did nothing with the Knicks. It was one of the worst picks ever. The Knicks didn't need a power forward. They needed a point guard. And didn't get him, and the rest is history. And there were a lot of other great point guards on that list of people picked that the Knicks could have gotten, that could have changed the entire trajectory of that Stoudemire Melo team. Knicks missed out and didn't get him. We didn't get him, and we didn't recover from that for a very long time. So, moral of the story: you got to kill your draft. Draft. Hit well in the draft. That's how you win titles. That's why I look at kind of the Sixers, and I'm like, oh, I hope not. I hope not. This VJ Edgecombe kid looks like he can be the next great one, man. He looks like he's. It's early. It's very early, but I don't know, man. That kid looks like he looks like he has the goods, man, to be one of the great next young players coming out in the NBA, man. All right, so, but yeah, we should have had Steph, and that would have taken care of all the Melo. And Steph was young, but Steph was a great player who could shoot. Melo would have had no problem getting Steph the ball. And I think the Knicks could have, sky would have been a limit with Steph Curry in New York. He would have went berserk, man. Anyway, I don't want to go. That's for another time. All right, but I hope you guys have fun. And yeah, that's pretty much it, man. The stats. Stop going on these podcasts throwing your brother under the bus, man. That's not cool. It's not cool for us to be on that type time. All right, just be appreciative of the time you guys played together, and be accountable too, bro. You know, you punching holes, you punching glass in for the fire extinguisher. And then on the elimination game, Miami put up a big fire extinguisher up on the big screen, the jumbo screen, trolling that. I never forget that, man. And Jeremy Lin nowhere to be found. And they were trying to push Jeremy Lin over Melo. So, you know, and yes, that Jeremy Lin, I almost forgot. Mentioning him, I'll end it with this. Jeremy Lin was supposed to be the point guard now that was going to tie everything together. But again, D'Antoni wanted Melo to be secondary and Lin first. And you can't do that. Carmelo was the best player on the team. You cannot have him not taking shots and Jeremy Lin just taking shots. And then Jeremy Lin, again, was an unknown. That's why he had that burst. He was not a championship caliber guard. And he really wasn't even he was a solid NBA starter. But basketball eyes and people that play the game and knew that at a point it was going to run out. We, the fans, didn't know that. But people that have a higher pay grade, that have played the game of basketball, know that was only a short lifespan that was going to happen. You know, put it this way. If you get some young point guard getting on the team and he's killing and he's doing all this, and you go to Kobe, y'all rest his soul. Go to Kobe and tell him, hey, look, man, we're doing hot. You take too many shots, Kobe. We're going to run offense through him. You do that and try to see how far you get with that. Do that with Shaq. Do that with any great player. I'm not even gonna mention Mike, because Mike will get you fired for coming to him with that. Which is what Carmelo did with D'Antoni, getting him up out of there when D'Antoni wanted the offense to run through Jeremy Lin and not Melo. And Melo basically went to management and to him and said, "That's it. Trade me. I'm out of here. No, I'm not with any of this." So and that's where a lot of the hate. Melo got a lot of the hate unjustifiably. You know, so, because again, when we needed Jeremy Lin, he was not there. And in that Miami Heat series, nowhere there to be found. And then got himself up out of here to get a better deal. So, you know, I love what he did during the time of insanity, but to close, he wasn't the point guard either. I mean a established, great championship caliber NBA point guard. That is what we needed. Melo just had a merry-go-round of point guards. He never had like a great point guard until he got Jason Kidd out the door, last leg standing, which still was great. All right, so that's what that team needed to win. They didn't get it. They screwed up the draft. The Steph Curry draft should have had Steph. Never got it. That's why they didn't win, man. All right, because both players were great scorers, but were not facilitators. So you needed a master facilitator to get the pieces in place. All right, so that's why they didn't win. Not because Melo didn't pass the ball. He's not there to pass. Nor were you, Stat. You're there to score. All right, the most passing we wanted you to do is out of the double team. That is it. All right, so that's the end of it, man. And that's it. We're a half hour, but you got a lot of thoughts. You got a lot of viewpoints. We went back in time, and we did some time travel. Like I was Michael J. Fox up in here. Kind of touch at different points. So hope you guys enjoy, and I'll talk to you soon. All right. Peace out, Knick fans. And Knick fans, don't be jumping off no ledges after game 4. All right. I don't want to see that out of y'all, man. All right. Okay. New coach, new system. We're learning it. Mitch is coming back. Knicks will be fine. All right, till then, peace.